This happened about 20 years ago, and I still think about it. Almost every time I drive late at night, honestly. Something about the dark and the empty road just brings it right back, like it happened last week instead of 2 decades ago. So I was driving home from a wedding DJ gig. Long night. The kind of event that runs way later than it's supposed to. By the time I got everything packed up and loaded into the car, it was around 2:30 in the morning. The highway was basically dead at that point. Just me and the road and the dark. I was tired, but I was focused. That kind of tired where your body wants to stop, but your brain is still going. Just trying to get home. I was coming through this stretch of highway I knew pretty well. High retaining walls on each side where the road cuts underneath a series of overpasses. The kind of place that feels a little closed in. Narrow, loud with road noise, walls pressing in close on both sides. You pass through it 1,000 times and you never really think about it. I wasn't thinking about it that night either. And then, out of nowhere, a young woman dropped down from the retaining wall, directly in front of my car. I hit the brakes so hard I thought I was gonna lose control. Came to a dead stop. Tires screaming. Heart just slamming. And I sat there for a second, both hands gripping the wheel, staring through the windshield, trying to understand what I'd just seen. She looked up at me from the road. Then she ran to my passenger door and got in. She looked young, somewhere between 16 and 20, long blonde hair. Her clothes weren't torn or anything, but they were dirty, like she'd been outside for a while, like she'd fallen down more than once and just kept moving anyway. Scraped up, shaken, but not crying, not screaming, not falling apart. She just looked at me and said, "I just need to call my mom." Okay, I can do that. I told her to stay calm, told her I'd help her find a phone. I started moving again, slowly at first, just getting us away from that spot, then picking up speed as I got my bearings back. I asked her what happened. Nothing. I asked if she was hurt. Still nothing. I asked if there was someone else I should call. Not a word. Just those 6 words, over and over, like a loop she couldn't break out of. I just need to call my mom. I didn't push it. I've thought about that decision a lot since then. Whether I should have asked more questions, pressed harder, tried to get something out of her. But something about the way she was holding herself told me that was the wrong move. The way she was keeping it together by the absolute thinnest possible thread. Like she was running on whatever was left after something really bad had already happened. She was fragile in a way I couldn't quite explain. Like one wrong word would shatter whatever was holding her upright right now. So I just drove, and that's when I glanced up at the rear view mirror. Another figure, dropping down from the retaining wall, right where she had been standing. Just standing there in the middle of the highway, watching my car pull away. I didn't say anything to her. I didn't look back again. I didn't mention what I'd just seen in that mirror. I just kept driving, faster now, and she didn't look back either. She just sat there, hands folded in her lap, eyes fixed straight ahead, like she already knew something was behind us, like she'd already made the decision not to look at it. That detail has stayed with me more than almost anything else about that night. She knew. She knew something was back there, and she chose not to look. I went about 4 or 5 exits south before I pulled off. There was a 24-hour grocery store, lit up bright, open, people moving around inside. I told her I'd take her there. She could use the payphone, call her mom, be somewhere warm and safe with other people around. She nodded. Just once. I pulled up to the front of the store and stopped the car. She got out, quickly but not running. Didn't say thank you. Didn't say anything at all. Didn't look back at me even once. Just ducked through the automatic doors and she was gone. I sat there in that parking lot for a minute, engine running, just sitting with everything that had happened in the last 20 minutes. Then I pulled across the street to a gas station and called 911. Told them everything. The retaining wall, the figure I'd seen drop down behind us onto the highway, her description, the store she'd gone into, all of it. The operator took it all down, and that was it. I never found out what happened to her. I never found out who the second figure was, or whether they followed us down the highway, or where they went when I drove away. I never found out what she was running from, or what was waiting for her up on that wall before she jumped. I've thought about it probably 100 times over the years. Who she was. What happened to her that night. Whether she got to make that call. Whether her mom came. And I think about that figure, just standing there in the middle of the highway in the dark, watching my tail lights get smaller and smaller and smaller, just standing there, not moving, not chasing, just watching. I think I did the right thing. I'm pretty sure I got her away from whatever that was. I just wish I knew the rest of the story. I was 19 years old, driving alone from Denver down to Albuquerque to visit my dad. Long drive, around 3 hours through some pretty empty stretches of the Southwest. I always preferred doing it at night. Less heat, less traffic, less of everything. Just the road, and the dark, and the radio. I liked the quiet of it. I'd been on the road for a while when I came into Pueblo, Colorado. It was late, well past midnight. Tired enough that I knew I needed to stop, grab some food, take a few minutes before I kept going. There was a Sonic on South Santa Fe Road. I pulled in, parked in one of the order spots facing away from the building, and put in my order. Then I rolled my window up. I don't usually do that. I genuinely love fresh night air. I almost always drive with the window at least cracked. But something made me roll it up that time. Some instinct I couldn't name. I don't know why. I just did. So I'm sitting there, phone in my hand, waiting on my food, when I heard a light tapping on the driver's side window. I looked up. A woman was standing right against the glass. She looked completely normal. Ordinary clothes, ordinary face. Nothing obviously off about her. But the second I saw her, something felt wrong. Just this cold feeling that moved through me immediately, like a warning I hadn't consciously worked out yet, but my body had already received loud and clear. She motioned for me to roll the window down. I didn't. I yelled through the glass, asked what she wanted. She said her car had broken down, pointed to a car stopped out in the middle of the street just outside the lot, said she just needed help pushing it off the road. I looked around. Nobody else anywhere nearby. The lot was empty. The street was empty. The whole area just completely still. Just her, me, and that car sitting in the road. Now normally, I would have helped without thinking twice. I was raised to pull over for people, to offer a hand when someone needed it. But something deep in my gut was screaming, "Don't open that door." I told her I couldn't help, suggested she go inside and ask the Sonic employees to call someone. She kept insisting, wouldn't take no for an answer. Every suggestion I made, she had a reason it wouldn't work. Every time I tried to redirect her, she steered it right back to me, to why I specifically needed to come outside. And what scared me most, she was calm about it. Not desperate, not panicked, just calm and persistent and focused. Like she'd done this before, like she knew exactly how it was supposed to go and was just waiting for me to follow the script. And then, she reached her hand into her pocket and used her other hand to try to open my door. My car was locked. Pure habit. I always lock it the second I get in without even thinking about it. But in that moment, hearing that handle pull and not give, I started shouting, "Get away from my car, right now." She stared at me for a long moment, that dark, flat stare that just stays with you. No surprise, no embarrassment, no reaction at all. Just staring at me through the glass like she was making a decision. And then she turned and walked, not ran, walked, back to the broken down car, which started immediately. No hesitation, no struggling with the engine, turned right over on the first try like it had been running the whole time. And before it even pulled away, 3 large men came sprinting out of a dark alley at the edge of the parking lot. They piled into the car, and it sped off. I just sat there, hands on the wheel, heart going, staring at the spot in the road where that car had been 30 seconds ago, running through every single detail of what had just almost happened. She was the bait. The broken down car was the bait. All of it. The tapping, the helpless story, the calm persistence, designed to do one thing: get me out of my locked car and into that empty parking lot in the dark, with 3 men waiting in an alley 15 feet away. 19 years old. Alone. No weapon. Middle of the night in an empty lot in a town I didn't know. If I'd rolled that window down, if I'd unlocked that door, if I'd gotten out of that car, I said a prayer right there in that parking lot. Then I called my dad, hands shaking a little on the phone as I told him what happened. He went quiet for a second. Then he said, "Thank God you kept that window up." And I've thought about that a lot since then. That one small instinct. Rolling up a window I never normally roll up, not even knowing why, just doing it. If I hadn't, I would have had no barrier between me and her, no locked door to hide behind. She could have reached right in, and those 3 men would have been out of that alley before I even understood what was happening. And I still think about the moment she reached into her pocket. I still don't know what was in it. And honestly, I'm grateful. Every single time I think about it, that I never had to find out. This was Christmas Eve. My mom was driving. I was 18. My little sister was 14, asleep in the back seat. We'd been at a big family gathering across town, the kind that always runs later than anyone planned. By the time we actually got out the door and into the car, it was around 2 in the morning. Long day, everyone drained. My sister had fallen asleep almost the second we pulled away from the curb, just ready to be home. The drive back was about 20 minutes. Most of it was this winding 2-lane highway that followed a river. Woods tight on the right, river down on the left, no street lights, no houses for long stretches. The kind of road that feels completely different at 2 in the morning than it does in the daytime. You don't pass many cars on that stretch even in the afternoon, let alone 2 in the morning on Christmas Eve. My mom always drove slowly on roads like that, tapped the brakes on every curve, never quite hit the speed limit, always left more space ahead than felt necessary. That night, I remember sitting there tired and impatient, just wanting her to go a little faster. I am so grateful for it now. We were coming up on a sharp bend in the road. Just past it, maybe 50 feet on the other side, there was a small bridge turnoff on the left that crossed over to the other bank of the river. My mom came around that bend and hit the brakes, hard. I lurched forward against my seatbelt and snapped fully awake. There was a car parked perpendicular across the road, completely blocking both lanes, sideways, engine running, 2 men inside, not trying to turn around, not hazard lights on, not looking lost or apologetic, just sitting there, staring at us. I remember the feeling in that moment, not quite fear yet, something that came before the fear, just wrongness. That immediate gut-level sense that something is deeply wrong before your brain has even caught up. A car doesn't end up like that by accident. You don't park sideways across a 2-lane highway at 2 in the morning on Christmas Eve because you got lost. My mom threw the car into reverse, and that's when we saw the second car. It had pulled up behind us, quietly, while we were completely focused on what was ahead, and positioned itself right at the entrance to that bridge turnoff, blocking the only other way out. We were completely surrounded. Woods on one side, river on the other, a car in front, a car behind. The bridge gone as an option. There was nowhere to go. Not into the woods, not toward the river, not forward, not back. We were just boxed in, on a road with no houses, no other cars, no lights, in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve. I don't think I fully understood in that moment just how bad our situation was. But my mom did. My mom, me, and my 14-year-old sister asleep in the back, in the dark, on Christmas Eve. My mom grew up in Mexico City in the 70s. She'd lived through things I couldn't even imagine. She'd seen this before. Not this exact moment, but the shape of it, the logic of it. 2 vehicles, 1 road, no witnesses. She knew exactly what it was. I remember her voice going completely calm. That specific calm that has nothing to do with peace. It's controlled. She said something low, almost under her breath. Something like, "These men are not here to help us." And then she found a gap. I still don't fully understand how she did it. The angle of the car, the bridge turnoff, the timing. She threaded us through in a move I don't think I could have pulled off on my best day. Reversed, turned hard, got us pointed back the way we came, and floored it. We drove straight back to my aunt's house. No cell phones back then. We went inside and called the police from the landline, told them everything. The location, the curve in the road, the 2 cars, the bridge. The police took a long time to show up. When they finally did, they gave us an escort home. We never found out who those men were. We never found out what they were planning. The police never told us anything, and honestly, I'm not sure they ever found them. That road was dark and isolated, and by the time anyone got out there, those cars were long gone. Maybe they found something. Maybe they didn't. I took the long route home after that, every single time, for years. And I still think about it every Christmas Eve, that bend in the road, coming around the curve and seeing that car sitting sideways in our headlights. Those 2 men, just sitting there, staring at us, waiting for us to pull forward. And I think about my little sister in the back seat, 14 years old, fast asleep, not knowing any of it was happening, not knowing how close it got. And I think about what would have happened if my mom had been driving just a little bit faster coming around that bend. I don't know what those men were planning that night. I don't want to know, but I know my mom saved us, and I know we got very, very lucky.